たった一つのたった一人たった一人の私はここ
Reparations on the table, nigga, we ain't seen shit. Put us under pressure, nigga, we ain't even sweat. Came out shining like a diamond in the middle with some mess. On Martin Luther King, bitch, we coming for our check. Headed to the capital to stake my feelings in the mind of a radical. You can't ride with me. I'm my only witness when I handle my business. Pull it from their hips, say bye-bye, Billy. No more time for no coasting, I'm on the highway focused. I ain't even smoking, I'm just riding my emotion. Both eyes open, I'm just trying to keep calm. Put an extra set of eyes on them doing recon. Knee deep in snow, say you try and keep going. Told him get up out the cold before my nigga deep on. Every old wound seem to getting retorn. I'ma write deep on so a nigga reborn. I'ma make a statement before I make it out alive. No Channel 5, I would rather make a lie. Before the news try to make a nigga out alive. But the pain in my eyes on a much bigger prize. 5-0 on both hands in the sky. Little do they know it's no plan to survive. I ain't finna give them no chance to decide. I'ma put they feet in both hands in the fire. Dancing in the fire like Eshak. You gon' test the water, never get both feet wet. We done overexposed the city defense to the overexposure indecent. They don't know they diving in the deep end. Ain't no way that they surviving through the weekend. Everything blown in the flash like a beacon. Drowned in the flames, it's too late to let it sink in. Got 10 ways I can be vengeful. Sitting on 10 grenades every last pinful. This guerrilla war, they don't know what they in for. I can hear them at the door trying to move in slow. I can hold them off, I got 3 shots. Taking every soul for at least 3 blocks. I can smell the fire burning through the sheetrock. Seeing bodies in the flame, nigga try and reach out. This is how you practice what you finna speak out. Thinking about the facts that they try to leave out. This is for my roots running through the deep south. Dying for a cause, what we finna beef out. If you ain't about the cause, what you finna beef out. Showing up deep, we gon' bring the streets out. Every man line up, showing what your street out. An independent state, what a nigga need now.
Depot on the beat.
I couldn't believe it, even when out of eye, and I still couldn't see it. This is much deeper than flesh and blood. Nigga, we fighting demons. Been double dead by the devil, and I'm still in the field. Now you get to watch me get it up out of the mud. I couldn't believe it, even when I was out of eye, and I still couldn't see it. This is much deeper than flesh and blood. Nigga, we fighting demons. I've been double dead by the devil, and I'm still undefeated. Now y'all get to watch me get it up out of the mud.
Now y'all get to see me without a mug. Everything that I do gon' be out of love. And I'm tired of these trials and these tribulations. And I'm sick of my name always getting drugged. But no, I ain't budge. All of this money and you not pursuing it. All of this time you don't know what to do with it. Counterproductive and counterintuitive. Why you be acting like you all brand new to it? Straight from the gutter, boy, we getting sewer. As soon as we get it, you know we gon' move it quick. All of this money I made from the block. Get out the game and invest it in stock. Bought me a whip, get the rest of it up. When you saving on stuff and it messes them up. We gon' be fine, but we stay on our grind. All of my niggas is stepping it up, and they foot on our neck and no letting it up. We level the playing field, even the battle. My son is a scientist, he's splitting at us. Need us more geniuses, I know we got them. I know it's in us, I'm bringing it out. I know I ain't perfect, I'm making them out. On Capitol Hill, and I'm bringing them houses. The path that I'm on should nobody follow.
I couldn't believe it, even when out of eye, and I still couldn't see it. This is much deeper than flesh and blood. Nigga, we fighting demons. Been double dead by the devil, and I'm still in the field. Now you get to watch me get it up out of the mud. I couldn't believe it, even when I was out of eye, and I still couldn't see it. This is much deeper than flesh and blood. Nigga, we fighting demons. I've been double dead by the devil, and I'm still undefeated. Now y'all get to watch me get it up out of the mud.
We fought hard on this road. us longer. Fighting each other won't make us no stronger. Honey, this niggas been fighting this hunger. I'm at my worst and ain't getting no wronger. No change of silence, I'm making it through. I flip a chair or a table or two. They won't believe what I'm able to do. I'm making these moves, but this a new movement. My dog at the gate and all praises and Anubis. I'm getting too lit in my boat pack with doobies. On my way up and I break through your roof and shot for the moon and it made me a star. Got so much drive I can make it to Mars. Can't promise today that I make it tomorrow. Every time that we make is to pay what we borrow. It's to pay what we borrow.
Power to the dark side, family. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? Man, feeling like Benny Siegel, man. But he say, why do I speak this blasphemy? So y'all won't have to do it after me. That's why, man. Automatically, man, y'all already know what time it is, man. We getting into um the protection of Aboriginal culture, right? And so, as global Aboriginal Africans, right? GAA, we are the GAA, right? The GAA. The GAA will be a subgroup within the dark side. Um, just another little subdivision or another umbrella. Um, you know, as we move forward. To me, I like getting away from the older labels that have been put out there and put onto us. And just because a lot of them already, um, a lot of those have already built their own reputation, and we're here to build our own, right? So, as the dark side continues to grow and morph and change and adapt, just like voodoo, right? It's the great part about voodoo. Voodoo adapts and changes and morphs with the time, right? And it adjusts. So and all of this is based on a necessity. So, and I apologize. I got to do this video through my phone. Uh, I don't know what's up with the laptop right now. I cannot get it to come on. So, a couple of shows that I did have planned, they're just on hold right now until I'm able to share my screen. So, but anyway, with that being said, um, the attack, right? There's a serious attack that we look at on Aboriginal culture globally. And so a lot of this, and see, the attack has been for a long, long time. And so now the attackers have become ourselves, right? We have become our own attackers when it comes to Aboriginal culture. And it's a tough transition, right? Because for a lot of us, the way that we are raised, right? Um, and the way that we are raised, they did a real good job of instilling this fear into us. And so the fear in itself is what kind of it causes you to it causes you to build up a wall, right? And so you end up building up this wall with these blinders set to certain things that are outside of your usual bubble, right? Because we get comfortable inside of these echo chambers, right? And shout out to Domo. And by echo chambers, what do we mean? Um, Basically, most of our settings are in places to where the ideas that are bounced off of the walls are all in agreement with each other. right? And so the circles that we sit in, there's never, uh, or should I say not never, but there's rarely any opposition, right? And so it's usually just an agreement. Yeah, yeah, right, right, you're right. And they kind of like what they call a build, right? And what happens is that nobody's ideas or how they perceive things is ever challenged. And people are more comfortable in those kind of states. And so some places that we sit in there, um, places that I want to say school is one of them. School kind of is a place that kind of creates a echo chamber to an extent. I mean, it's hard to kind of argue with the facts, but I guess it just kind of depends. Maybe when it comes to like historical events and different stuff like that. We know we see it a lot of times in our whenever we're having spiritual discussions. We like to sit and have spiritual discussions amongst people that are most comfortable with the conversation that we are having. And therefore, we believe that we're building, but in actuality, building is supposed to be about progress. And so, if the ideas and thoughts are never being challenged, then there is really no progression. There's just stagnation, right? You just become. I think I just made up a word. You just become stagnant, right? Um, and that causes an issue because what happens is that whenever the ideals are challenged, you don't handle it well, right? And so a lot of times observing Aboriginal culture, it challenges the very circles or it challenges our comfortability, right? It because a lot of our comfortability are principles based off of a society and a system that hates you, right? It hates everything about you. And it tries to change everything that it can about you. But the one thing it know it can't really is skin color. And it's even trying to change that through, um, well, that's another subject. But it definitely does try to change everything about you. And so, with like this new, well, not new term, but the word that we use now is like modernization, you know, trying to make sure that you are a modernized individual. In other words, that you fit in with everybody else, right? And modernization isn't really about making you comfortable. It's about making everybody else comfortable around you, right? And so the way that you do that is by blending in with everybody that's around you, right? Now, some of the things that what's crazy is that when we look at like Aboriginal culture in general, a lot of times it's demonized, and the demonization comes from a hypocritical standpoint. Um, a lot of people uh, try to call out Aboriginal culture for spirit possessions and different things like that, but we see those same spirit possessions or those same rituals take place in churches on Sundays, in the Black church specifically. We see complaints um, or people that are uncomfortable uh, with the sacrifices and different things like that. And when a lot of the spiritual literature that we read today is built off of these type of sacrifices and even worse sacrifices. Um, and most of these traditions Like, but let's just deal with like when we talk about like the sacrifices. The sacrifices are are not only about giving thanks, but also about not wasting any part of the food, right? And so the sacrifice, you sacrifice what you're gonna eat. I don't think people really kind of get that, right? You sacrifice what you're gonna eat. We're in a kind of a luxury kind of zone right now to where, like the predicament that we in, our food already comes prepared. So, um, you know, preparing the slaughter and cleaning the food, the chicken and all of that, that's not really something that we deem as necessary in this society, right? But if you did have to do that, there, there's a proper way to do it. And so when we look at like a lot of times in our cultures, the priesthood set up ways to get people to clean things or to do things in a cleanly manner and and excuse me, in a clean manner. Um, and so a lot of times the what happens is okay, it becomes a ritual behind draining the blood out of out of your food or whatever it is that you're getting ready to eat. And so a lot of times when we look at people of other cultures, um, certain things, it makes us uncomfortable. A lot of times it doesn't sit right with our spirit. And, this is a lot of, for the most part, based out of a fear that's been instilled in us from birth. Um, I think that fear though holds us back from unlocking our true potential. Um, Not only when we talk about on this plane, but also in the next, right? And the difficult, what makes it difficult is because a lot of times I talk a lot about love and sacrifice, and a lot of times love and sacrifice is like something that's a part of the culture, right? That's something that's built in, that's something that's instilled in you. It's kind of pumped in your heart. Just what we have isn't really pumped in our heart like that. Like it's crazy because on one end, the doctrines tell us that we shouldn't have this fear of death or a fear of being uncomfortable because you're going to be in uncomfortable or compromising positions. But it seems like nobody's really willing to be uncomfortable. And it's like, I guess because maybe when you have a culture, I guess that you're proud of and that you're most comfortable with, you actually end up wanting to. It's something that you're willing to die for. It's something that you're willing to starve for. It's something that you're willing to risk your life for. Um, just for others in general. So it's like I guess it kind of poses a question because now we've been so far removed from like Aboriginal culture. We're in the predicament of the colonizers. Like we look at ourselves through the lens of how the colonizers looked at us when they got here and when they got to other places around the world. You're naked. You're savage. You're idol worshipers. We look at Africans globally, the ones who practice the actual culture. In a way, it's almost like we're kind of taught to keep our distance from that. A lot of times, Black Americans complain about Africans not messing with us when they get here. But a lot of times, also, we're kind of taught to be separate and be careful with their culture. I remember hearing, like, don't bring none of that stuff up into my house. They be praying spirits and stuff over that stuff. You know what I mean? Like just certain stuff that was there in order to kind of scare you off from your actual power. What hurts about it though the most is that when we attack our own culture, we don't even necessarily see it. Like it's almost like we do it kind of like subconsciously. And then when it's pointed out, we get defensive about it. It's like walking up and you see a sign and it says, hey, no do rags. You know what I mean? No braids, no locks, no baggy clothes, no Jordans. Like, man, you might as well just say no niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's pretty much what you really trying to say. No niggas. And I mean, just be real and be honest about it. You don't like black people. You don't like black culture. That's something that people have a hard time hearing and dealing with. The attack on ancestor worship, that just simply means that you hate Africans. You hate yourself. You hate being a global African. And you choose to be separate. There's no way to really get around that. Other people will try to sugarcoat it for you and do it the nice way. I'm not. I'm just not going to do that. Being anti ancestor worship and anti African. That's anti black. That's anti yourself. And you're looking at yourself through the colonizer's lens. Strike one. That's just strike one. When you look at Africans and you go and say, how many guys do they have? That's really strike two. Starting the conversation off with how many guys is an issue in itself. You're one God deity that just chose you. Like, come on, man. That's anti-African, anti-self, and anti-black. There's really no way of getting around it. It's understandable, and it's out of fear. You know, they put the fear in it, the YHWH, and so that fear has us in a way where we look at each other and go, "Nah, you ain't doing it right. You should be praying this way," which is anti-African. It just is. You'll hear a lot of people say, "Well, you know, the Bible is a white man's book." They make that mistake a lot of times. It's not the white man's book. White people didn't exist when the Bible was created. White people, that is an American, United States concept. Now, the Bible was Greco-Roman. and they weren't African. They were actually enemies to Africa, which is a lot of a lot of that stuff is stuff I planned on getting into. I have to wait till my computer is back up and running and all of that. But until then, we just kind of we kind of just relax. You know, I got stuff. I definitely do want to share my screen on it and pull out some different stuff. 'Cause I know a lot of people are trying to run to Ethiopia and bring out that Bible and this and that. But I got the information that just kind of drops that on his head. That Bible got in Ethiopia got nothing but white people, or excuse me, Greco-Roman people. You know, this this Eurasian culture is anti-Aboriginal culture. It's opposed to Aboriginal culture. That's what they're talking about when we deal with these different cultures that defeat the dragon or the serpent, this great serpent that they defeat. The 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 battle of the serpent is the battle of you. Most, if not all, Aboriginal cultures hold the serpent in high regard, in their cultures. So it's no coincidence that you see these Eurasian, or excuse me, Eurasian, uh, Abrahamic faiths attacking Aboriginal cultures. They do the same things that they've been doing. They attack our culture. They attack our priesthood. They attack our buildings, our temples, our art. They attack everything about us, the way we think, how our women dress, how the men dress. Understanding that the fight for us is, though it will manifest itself in the physical, it's much deeper than flesh and blood. I think we sleep on that aspect of it. And why do I like when I say it's much deeper than flesh and blood, like understand that our spirits ain't right. The way that we seeing ourselves, it just ain't right now. It's not. We're scared of our culture. We're scared of right now we're still scared of the dark. We don't want to walk into any rooms without the light on. Because in the dark, you'll see your true self. That and they got you scared of the dark. And you pretend like you're not. You pretend like you're pro-black. And we got a lot of pro-blacks pretending like they pro-black, promoting capitalism. You can't be thinking about black people, global Africans. And you talking about capitalism, which is another way of attacking Aboriginal culture. Why? How? Because capitalism is another way of dealing with modernization. To compete in this system, you need to be modernized, which means now you want to work on infrastructure, which entails going back to the industrial age, which is just something that Africans shouldn't be thinking about because we're not trying to destroy the fucking planet. We trying to go right, fall right in line with them. You seen what China looked like? Yeah, they blew up fast, but they was willing to risk the planet. They can't even go outside, bro. China been wearing masks before COVID was even thought of, bro. They've been checking their air quality levels before they even walked outside, yo, just to try to compete in this system. It's not worth it. It's not worth it, especially when you end up losing yourself in the form. Who is China now? What is Chinese culture? Anybody know? It look like white folks to me. They just killed Asian culture in order to in order to industrialize their country. Now they're showing up wearing suits and shit. The attack on Aboriginal culture ain't even just about Africans. It's people in general. Italians are under uh, their culture is under attack. The only difference is they're attacking it themselves by trading it in to be white with the hopes of becoming a Bill Gates or some shit. That ain't gonna happen. Everybody's culture is just downhill while the world is being morphed and shaped and formed into this black or white society. Because that's the system, black or white, black or white. Two things, that go together. When they created white, they created black in order to be in opposition. So there's a certain status that comes to that. All black people ain't black, but excuse me, that comes with understanding the dynamics of race in general. Our very outlook in multiple ways is is real. It's like I said, it's just real judgmental. It's really hypocritical, and it's something that we can't continue to pass on. Like we're getting ready to pass on hate for ourselves to a whole nother generation again, out of fear. So now you have more people getting into root work, conjure, and hoodoo, and voodoo, and vado, and Ifa. You have more of us calling on the principles of Ogun, Oshun. You got more of us standing by the door like Legba. The question now is it enough? Are we moving fast enough? I don't know if we understand the urgency of escaping modernization. They're cool with a lot of things, but nobody is cool with the African being the African or the indigenous being the indigenous or Aboriginal being the Aboriginal. They're afraid of that. It makes people uncomfortable, which is fine, but it shouldn't make you uncomfortable. Ancestry worship shouldn't make you uncomfortable. We should be learning root work. We should be learning how to the the science of herbs, the science of nature, understanding how these things are manipulated. We have our own chemistry classes. It's called voodoo. But you look down on voodoo and they show up to go put on a white coat and sit in a science class. Same thing. That just shows where your respect is. See, a lot of times it's about reputation. We're not giving ourselves the benefit of the doubt. We're not building up each other's reputation. And so McDonald's has more reputation than Uncle Ben's burger joint. You know what I'm saying? You respect McDonald's reputation more. So they gonna get your money more. Uncle Ben might get you once a week, but McDonald's will get it on a regular. You respect their reputation more. Even though they fuck you over every time you go through the drive through. But it is what it is. I didn't like I said, man, this wasn't no plan long. I just hadn't been live in a while. I have some stuff I definitely have been wanting to bring out. I'm just trying to get this computer together, see what's going on. Finna go take it to Geek Squad today. I got music on there. I've been ready to. I got ready to release. Got another song I'm ready to record and release also. Um, so hopefully we'll have all of that done by today. I should be able to. If all of that is done by today, I'll have y'all 2 songs dropped for show tonight, and then also I'll do the video that I got coming on the Bible. If the Bible is Greco-Roman. And so with that, what we'll kind of do is we'll show the Ethiopian connection between uh, Constantinople, aka Turkey, and that the connection that they had between them, the Romans, and all of that, and how that connection is a part of the overthrowing of Africa. So I definitely gonna want to tune into that because that's where that's where the attacks on the Aboriginal culture begin, right? It's in Ethiopia when they colonized the 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 cultures of the I like to call what we call the Homo Valley civilization. You know, so we'll get into that. I'll kind of show y'all the connection between Saint Prometheus, King Azana, all of that. When we talk about the Aksumite Empire, go for the Dothamite, Punt. We'll go through all of that different kind of stuff. I definitely have, I'm definitely gonna have some more stuff though. When it comes to just in general, just kind of showing y'all in different ways how they attack Aboriginal culture. I want to show y'all the connection between the serpent and Aboriginal culture, the serpent and African in general. I want to kind of show y'all that, the one that brings the knowledge and the wisdom. So, yeah, pretty much it, man. I just want to pretty much, jump in, chop it up with y'all for a second, and give y'all a heads up on what we got coming. But you already know, man. With that being said, y'all know what time it is. Power to the dark side. If you are listening to this together, we are Babel. Let's build. And a special praise to Stimmy, the most beautiful goddess on the planet, the Black woman.
たった一つたった一つのたった一人たった一人の私はここ
Reparations on the table, nigga, we ain't seen shit. Put us under pressure, nigga, we ain't even sweat. Came out shining like a diamond in the middle with some mess. On Martin Luther King, bitch, we coming for a check. Headed to the Capitol to stake my feelings in the mind of a radical. You can't ride with me. I'm my only witness when I handle my business. Pull it from the hip, say bye-bye, Billy. No more time for no coasting, I'm on the highway focused. I ain't even smoking, I'm just riding my emotion. Both eyes open, I'm just trying to keep calm. Put an extra set of eyes on them doing recon. Knee deep in snow, say you try and keep going. Told him get up out the cold before my nigga deform. Every old wound seem to getting retorn. I'ma write deep poems to a nigga reborn. I'ma make a statement before I make it out alive. No Channel 5, I would rather make a lie. Before the news try to make a nigga out alive. But the pain in my eyes on a much bigger prize. 501, both hands in the sky. Little do they know it's no plan to survive. I ain't finna give them no chance to decide. I'ma put they feet in both hands in the fire. Dancing in the fire like Eshak. You gon' test the water, never get both feet wet. We done overexposed the city defense to the overexposure indecent. They don't know they diving in the deep end. Ain't no way that they surviving through the weekend. Everything blown in the flash like a beacon. Drowned in the flames, it's too late to let it sink in. Got 10 ways I can be vengeful. Sitting on 10 grenades, every last pinful. This guerrilla war, they don't know what they in for. I can hear them at the door trying to move in slow. I can hold them off, I got 3 shots. Taking every soul for at least 3 blocks. I can smell the fire burning through the sheetrock. Seeing bodies in the flame, they can try and reach out. This is how you practice what you finna speak out. Thinking about the facts that they try to leave out. This is for my roots running through the deep south. Dying for a cause, what we finna beef out. If you ain't about the cause, what you finna beef out. Showing up deep, we gon' bring the streets out. Every man line up, showing what your street out. An independent state, what a nigga need now.
たった一人たった一人の
Got
I couldn't believe it. Even when out of eye, and I still couldn't see it. This is much deeper than flesh and blood. Nigga, we fighting demons. Been double dared by the devil, and I'm still undefeated. Now you get to watch me get it up out of the mud. I couldn't believe it. Even when I was out of eye, and I still couldn't see it. This is much deeper than flesh and blood. Nigga, we fighting demons. I've been double dared by the devil, and I'm still undefeated. Now y'all get to watch me get it up out of the mud.
Now y'all get to see me without a mug. Everything that I do gon' be out of love. And I'm tired of these trials and these tribulations. And I'm sick of my name always getting drugged. But no, I ain't budge. All of this money and you not pursuing it. All of this time you don't know what to do with it. Counterproductive and counterintuitive. Why you be acting like you all brand new to it? Straight from the gutter, boy, we getting sewer. As soon as we get it, you know we gon' move it quick. All of this money I made from the block. Get out the game and invest it in stock. Bought me a whip, get the rest of it up. When you saving on stuff and it messes them up. We gon' be fine, but we stay on our grind. All of my niggas is stepping it up, and they foot on our neck and no letting it up. We level the playing field, even the battle. My son is a scientist, he's splitting at us. Need us more geniuses, I know we got them. I know it's in us, I'm bringing it out. I know I ain't perfect, I'm making them out on Capitol Hill, and I'm bringing them houses. The path that I'm on should nobody follow.
I couldn't believe it. Even when out of eye, and I still couldn't see it. This is much deeper than flesh and blood. Nigga, we fighting demons. Been double dared by the devil, and I'm still undefeated. Now you get to watch me get it up out of the mud. I couldn't believe it. Even when I was out of eye, and I still couldn't see it. This is much deeper than flesh and blood. Nigga, we fighting demons. I've been double dared by the devil, and I'm still undefeated. Now y'all get to watch me get it up out of the mud.
We fought hard on this road this longer. Fighting each other won't make us no stronger. Honey, this niggas been fighting this hunger. I'm at my worst and ain't getting no wronger. No change of silence, I'm making it through. I flip a chair or a table or two. They won't believe what I'm able to do. I'm making these moves, but this a new movement. My dog at the gate and all praises and newbies. I'm getting too lit in my boat pack with doobies. On my way up and I break through your roofing. Shot for the moon and it made me a star. Got so much drive I can make it to Mars. Can't promise today that I'll make it tomorrow. Every time that we make is to pay what we borrow. It's to pay what we borrow.